Are you seeking guidance on your spiritual journey? Need help with a vexing problem? Missing a loved one and looking for answers? Look no further than Psychic Insights, a small trusted psychic service offering mediums, psychics, and spiritual coaching. This service is managed by Hollis Taylor, a gifted psychic medium, astrologer, and a compassionate coach. We are dedicated to helping you navigate your spiritual awakening. At Psychic Insights, we provide medium readings and psychic insight to help you plan for tomorrow and make choices for today. Find the support you need, compassionate grief coaching, and astrological insights to help you spiritually grow and transform. Our professional services include well-managed schedules, recorded sessions, and reliable psychic mediums ready to facilitate your transformational experience. Discover more at psychicinsights.life.
Hello. My camera was a little crooked there. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's evening in most places. It's just barely sunset here in Colorado, up in the Rocky Mountains, and we are beautifully set for a nice evening. And welcome, Nikki Chamberlain. And Alyssa, welcome. I'm glad to have you with me today. Welcome. Oh, I'm so grateful for when technology works well. Like, I'm just gonna say that out loud because it's always important to say what you're grateful for if you want to have more of it, you know. Hi, Donna. Welcome. Or Izzy. I like calling you Izzy. I like that name. Izzy, do you know what my drag king name is? Do you know? He's an admin of the group. Maria Ellsbury, hello. And Heather. Hey, Sue. I like to say thank you to the technology, Izzy. Look at the admins of the group, Izzy. Look at the admins of the group. Or just look up Izzy a he. I'm going to reply to your message with the spelling. I'm going to tag him. I'm pretty sure he's still an admin because I was just trying to prevent scammers and shit. So I made all of my different names on Facebook to be an admin of the group. That's my drag king, by the way. Thought you might enjoy that. So I like calling you Izzy. That's what they call me in Pennsylvania. If I go to a Pennsylvania gay bar, they will call me Izzy. So isn't that funny? Izzy a he. Izzy a he? Now you all are starting to laugh, right? Do you guys get it? Yes, it's funny. It's meant to be funny. So, anyway, just a fun little tidbit, about Hollis, something else you can know about Hollis. Hi, Carrie. It was an interesting thing being a medium and a drag king at the same time, because when I would do certain old-fashioned songs, I would feel the entity, let's just say Michael Jackson. I would feel the entity come through me. And sometimes I also felt drag queens come through me, like dead drag queens. And I think I have numerous dead drag queen spirit guides. And they're my guides, and they literally would come through me and help me do drag in a good way. So it was kind of like channeling, but instead of talking, I was dancing or performing. I actually did a really excellent ABC by Michael Jackson. Won a contest over it and everything. I'm sort of a legend in Central PA as a drag king. So, things you didn't know about Hollis, right? Okay. It was good fun. It was all before the heart condition hit. And I might return to it now that life is a little bit safer and I feel a little bit better about performing on stage. Dancing on stage could be hard to do. But yeah, I was a spiritual drag king. I actually did the last time I performed as Izzy was in the UK last year when I went. I performed Imagine by John Lennon. I also impersonate Elton John. I actually do it pretty well. If you go to Izzy's page, you'll see it. You'll see that I impersonate Elton John. Like I have flashy jackets and the whole nine. So it was fun to do Elton John in the UK, right? It was good fun. Drag is just a fun thing to do. I think it could be spiritual too, because you're bringing messages to general people, right? Okay. All right. Hi, Vanessa. Hey, Carly and Marianne. Welcome. Hi, Amber. It's good to see you again. Hi, Laura and Vanessa. Okay. And Carly, you haven't been to a Hollis Taylor read before? Well, it's weird. So just heads up. Be prepared. Strap in. Get your seatbelt on. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Vanessa. Welcome. Welcome. Barbara and Cece Bear. Hello. Hello. See, I knew you would love that name, Izzy. Izzy a he? I know. um, I understand why you changed your name, Izzy, but I just anyway. Yep. It's funny. Every time I see your name, I'm laughing inside. Okay. I'm actually feeling really good at surgery now. It's been just over a week. It's been like 8 days. Oh, I finally got a full shower with no plastic wrapped around me. That kind of thing. Nothing really hurts. I still can't lay on my left side yet. Um, uh, but mostly I'm not hurting. I'm not hurting or anything. And I was having some palpitations after surgery, which are just kind of like that uncomfortable feeling where your stomach suddenly dropped. It actually happens to everyone, but for me, it was happening like every 3 seconds. It was happening like maybe like 4 times a minute, and that was kind of driving me crazy. So after we checked my electrolytes and stuff like that, we're not sure if it's either connected to the fact that I wasn't exercising as much because of the surgery, or if or maybe it could have been the hormones. So we're going to experiment. I took my hormones back down to where they were before the surgery and left them. I'm going to leave them there while I recover until I get back to the exercise level that I was at before surgery. So I'm getting there. I took a nice 30-minute walk on my walking pad today and did pretty good at it. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm feeling pretty confident in my body, which is really nice. So even when I do get little tinges of fear, like, oh, what's my heart doing? The good news is I have the implants, and I'm grateful for the technology to be within my body, to listen to my heart rate and to constantly monitor my heart rate for me. I appreciate the technology that is within my body. I appreciate the artificial intelligence that is listening, that if my heart rhythm goes into a weird rhythm, that is dangerous, that's fatal, it will shock me and keep me alive. And for that, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. So I've named my ICD. It's kind of like a pacemaker, you guys. And I named it after my dad. His name is Henry. So it's Henry the paramedic. And he pretty much lives right back here under my armpit, sort of towards my back, sort of in a place that you don't really touch or, have much contact with. So, and there's a little wire that goes from it around here to my sternum on the outside. It's not inside my heart, but his name is Henry. So Henry, the paramedic, he's pretty awesome. He's doing awesome in there. And I'm grateful. And I'm, one step up from what my dad experienced. My dad walked around in fear. I didn't quite understand it when I was like 20 something. I would take my dad places and he'd be like, where's the closest ambulance? Where's the closest hospital? And he would ask me questions like that. And of course, my father died of this condition. It's called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. It is the loss that brought me to mediumship many years ago. I've been doing readings. Sometimes the first person I did a reading for, sometimes she shows up in the group. Her name is Melissa Berger. And she, so I am grateful that my father experienced what he experienced, and that we've taken one step up, right? So now we're ahead of the game. We know that HCM is in my heart right now, and I can take measures to slow down that process, like stress management and exercise and healthy diet. And I absolutely never smoke or drink alcohol. That's absolute no way. It doesn't matter anyway. My body won't let me do any of that. It just freaks out. And then, and my son, he's doing pretty good. He also has a paramedic in his pocket. I'm not sure. He said he didn't name it. So Henry, so my son and I actually have the same condition, and so do both of my grandchildren. So while that is unfortunate, we will be monitoring my grandchildren to see how it develops, if it develops. But they do have the gene marker for it. So I'm grateful for all the technology that helps us to take care of ourselves. And also, I honor my father and my grandmother's experience. And although I never met my grandmother because she died when my father was 12 of this heart condition, because of course that was back in the early 1900s, before we knew what we knew now. So my grandmother died of it. My father died of it. I have been diagnosed with it. Notice I'm not saying I have, because I don't want to own it, because I'm willing for the genetic mutation to not be expressed. And that's why I do meditation every day. Okay. I'm kind of a health geek as a result of it all. Hey, Chelsea and Eva. Vanessa, I should write a life story. I've kind of written my story in a book called Divine Androgen, A Sacred Path for Gender Variant People. You can find it on Amazon. It has some of my story. It doesn't really apply to mediumship at this point, but I am writing a mediumship book at this time. But it mostly applies to the sacredness of being trans, which is what I believe in. Okay. Hi, Andrea. I hope everyone is well too, Nikki. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. And Alyssa, thankful for Harry the paramedic. Thanks for asking, Nikki. He's doing good. Oh, man, right? We can be grateful for these things, because gratitude is one way to bring more great things in your life. In case you didn't know that, if you'd like to know a trick to manifestation, is to always be grateful. Okay. So, welcome, Sarah, Smile, and Barbara, and Makwa, and Lynette. I am feeling much better, Sarah. Thanks for asking. I'm doing just quite fine. I'm working on getting my diet honed in the way it was before my surgery, and getting my exercise back to where I want it to be so that I can lose weight. So, exercise is hard with this condition, and it's taken me a few years to get it under control the way I have it now. So I'm glad you're all here, and we're going to do a little bit of spirit-led readings, and then I will probably I'll probably do spirit-led readings, which of course is simply where spirit comes through and then people pipe up and say, hey, that's my grandma, or that's my brother. Okay. That's how spirit-led readings work, because it would be really hard for me to choose who gets a reading. Hi, Barbara Engro. Welcome to my channel. We do things a little differently around here than most people do. And yeah, you should subscribe so you can always catch these lives. They're free, and it's not just me. There's a different medium every day. So in hopes to bring through messages for you. and also to help you choose the best medium for your reading. If you want a reading, even if it's not mediumship, if it's, astrology, or you just need help choosing which job to take or whatever's going on in your life, that's what psychics are for. That's what we're here for. We're kind of like intuitive counselors or something, and but isn't it nice to preview? Like, I don't know how many of you have been to like a therapist or something. You go to it and you just get assigned a therapist, and then you're like in the first meeting or two and you're like, this is not going to work. Right? Like, you can already tell you don't like this person, right? That's their energy, their aura, their essence, right? And the thing is one of the ways to get to know someone's essence is to interact with them. And even interacting on this live, you guys can tell what my essence is about. If you watched yesterday's live with Tabby, you could tell what her essence was like, right? And that's the magic of this. And that's what I'm hoping to give you. What I'm hoping to give you is the opportunity to see what my essence is like, because this little mini reading that you're going to get is kind of like nothing, like compared to a private reading. It's like a little, it's like, it's like having one crumb off of a piece of a pie, or one crumb off of a piece of cake. Like, if you want the whole piece of cake, you'll have to come get a reading with me. Now, I understand if you don't have funds, but I will say that I often will take work exchange. You can ask Izzy about that. I'm very fair, and I'm happy to do work exchange with you. If you don't have enough to pay for something at any time and you really, really want it, and you have some skills you can share with me, I'm happy to exchange with you. I'm a completely fair person. I probably can't hire you full time, but I can absolutely um, give you a free reading or two, or I might be able to pay you for some stuff. But okay, so it's a lot of work that I have to do, and I'm doing things completely different now in the technology race, um, and doing things a different way. Okay. So if you're good at technology or something else that you think I might use, then let me know. Okay. Chelsea said, I joined your astrology forecast earlier this week and mentioned I was waiting on a life changing phone call. I did receive the phone call and I'm feeling grateful. Yeah, Chelsea. Woohoo. Yeah, that's exciting for you. Woohoo for Mars retrograde. Sometimes it is good things. It's a beautiful thing. It's a funny thing. All right. So let's first set our intentions about readings today. First, I'm going to set my intentions. I'm going to say my prayers to my spirit guides, because I work with spirit guides. I work with my personal spirit guides. And then what happens is my spirit guides help me interpret the messages of your loved ones. They show me things and help me feel things. And they also choose who comes first. Okay. I call upon my spirit guides. I call upon my spirit guides in the here and now. Thank you for coming forward to me now. Thank you for helping me with these readings. Thank you for helping me to bring messages through. Thank you for helping me to connect beyond this dimension. Thank you for helping me connect beyond many dimensions. Thank you for helping me to interpret the messages from the other side, to understand them, and to help find closure for those listening. Thank you for helping me to find healing for those listening and myself. Thank you for helping us to more deeply understand the other side, and to understand spirits and why they do things and why things are happening at any given time. Thank you for helping me and being with me today. I appreciate this. And thank you to all the interdimensional beings that may choose to come through me today. I appreciate your love and guidance, and I appreciate your message. And I am here as a channeler for your message. Thank you to my guides and any other beings that might be with me today. Okay, I have a female energy. She's very focused on how she looks. Like she's got kind of, I don't know if you want to call it big hair, but the energy around the hair is big. Okay? Um oh my gosh. Um So she's kind of a big personality, but mostly she's very focused on how she looks. She's very focused on style, and the shape of her body and makeup and hair and the whole nine is very important to her. It was a value in her last lifetime. In her most recent lifetime, she was just very focused on that. That's how you one way that you know her. She was very sweet and stuff. Like she wasn't um she wasn't like stuck up or anything. Like I don't want you to think I'm saying that. Um and instead it would be like it would be like she was actually a really sweet energy. She just was very focused and concerned about herself. It feels like she lived to a decent age. It's not like she died young or anything. So I feel like she was probably, maybe 70s or 80s when she passed. She was pretty in shape, pretty well shaped. She did kind of work at it a little bit, but she wasn't like an athlete, but she was. She was only an athlete because she cared of what she looked like. I feel like she just did something simple, like she might have lifted weights or worked out at home, but she wasn't like she wasn't all about that. She was more about the physical results that it brought. So she was in pretty good shape. She probably took a walk every day or something like that, or jogged or something. She's saying she jogged when she was young, but not when she was older. Okay, so when she was older, she was more like a walker. Like she would walk. She would make sure took a walk every day. She tried to take good care of herself. She was actually very centered in being a beautiful woman. She just had a lot of value in that. I believe she might have had some astrology placements for that because it feels like she even kind of may have moved that on to like her daughters or women in her young girls. It feels like she may have had daughters or something like that, or granddaughters. So, Stephanie, does this still sound like your grandmother? Is this sounding like one of them more than the other? Okay, so let me see what else she has. She was also very friendly host. She was very positive, and she was very good at like uh, if a young woman was feeling down or depressed, she'd be like, "Well, you just do your hair and put some makeup on and you'll feel better." And she kind of helped she kind of helped find sort of happiness through beauty. She really valued beauty. Okay. And she would pass that on. It feels like a granddaughter, but it could be a daughter. It could be both. And it just feels like a young woman who feels rejected maybe at school or something like that, and other normal life happenings that get you down. She would try to encourage by getting a pretty dress, taking you out to get a pretty dress or a new top or something like that. These were her ways of rewarding. Okay. She also was a gift giver. Okay. So she liked to give gifts. It's funny. She's showing me like a living room, I guess, like 1950s style. I feel like this is the prime of her life. Okay. It's like 1950s, maybe 60s, maybe 60s. It's got that smooth, like leather couch type of feel. Yeah. Okay. She's saying yes, yes, yes. I think, let me just look and make sure there's no one saying anything. Nope, no one's claimed you yet. Okay. All right. She's actually very sweet. She's very, I almost want to call her quaint. Okay. Gentle, sweet. She's saying at least in her old age she was. She's a little bit sassy, but not sassy. Just a little bit, okay? Um oh, okay. So she didn't work out. She didn't walk every day? Okay. You don't know much about your paternal grandmother. Okay. Okay. Does your dad have any sisters? Cute. She's actually, I think she might be showing me a memory. It feels like she's with Santa Claus, like a man dressed up like Santa Claus. I think she might be Mrs. Claus. That might have been the gift giving thing. Cute. I think she might have dressed up as Mrs. Claus because it's got the whole red and white outfit, the traditional. I feel like she's taking tickets or taking something and letting people in to see Santa Claus. Did Does anyone have a grandparent? Okay, that's funny, Stephanie. Your grandmother walked to work every day. I know that because my dad couldn't believe she did it in heels. That is pretty amazing. Does your dad have sisters? Did she dress up as Santa, as Mrs. Claus ever? Like with her husband? I feel like it's her husband. I feel like they really enjoyed Christmas. I feel like she enjoyed that. So, she really enjoyed Christmas and she really enjoyed um I think she enjoyed like the dressing up part of it. Like it was an outfit. It was cute and, it was fun to do. I think she enjoyed the children. I think she enjoyed the happiness and the joy that you usually see around the holidays. That's what it feels like to me. Like she was a real holiday person. I don't know why she's showing me herself dressed up as Mrs. Claus, unless they just called her Mrs. Claus. Okay, that's possible. She likes to give gifts, so I could see them calling her Mrs. Claus. Okay. She liked to shop, so she also enjoyed that. So, all right. She had two boys. She didn't have sisters. Okay. All right. So I guess she doesn't. So this again, Heather, did you check? Heather Schaefer in the group said, I watched a home video of my grandma handing out presents at a family Christmas party recently. Heather, was your grandmother concerned about her? Was she kind of good looking? She was concerned about how she was dressed and her hair, and she did makeup and um, maybe took a walk every day, and she was pretty healthy until she passed. What else did I say? Feels like she may have passed it on to her daughter or granddaughter about how she liked to take care of hair and things like that. Do you remember that, Heather? Is that accurate? Anyway, um, yeah. So, I'll give her another minute. Izzy, my great grandmother was like that, very generous, but I don't know. Okay, you don't know much about her, I think is what you're saying. Whoa. Heather said this was in 1995 and she was obsessed with makeup and having her hair done, but I don't think she walked every day. Heather, um, okay. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, here we go. This, I think that it's either Heather or Susan here. So Heather said, sounds so much like my granny. She died on Christmas Eve. Interesting. She had 3 daughters and was always helping me. She loved to dress up, especially to church, and always did her hair, and she walked a lot. Yeah. Was she generous? Did she like to buy gifts? Like, did she have like a thing about giving out gifts at the holidays? Like, it seems like it was kind of her thing to give out gifts. I'm not sure why she's showing that. Okay, so absolutely. Susan's saying absolutely. So it sounds like, Susan, I might be with you, I'm pretty sure. Heather said she would not leave the house without makeup and hair done. Yeah. And jewelry was a big thing also. Yeah. But Heather, you don't know anything else about like her personality. Like, did she like to give out gifts? What did you say about Christmas? Oh, I watched a home video of grandma passing out gifts just recently. Okay, well, let's see. I'm either with Heather Schaefer in the group or I'm with Susan. She gave all the kids gifts. Yes, exactly, Susan. She likes kids. Yeah, so let's see what else I get about her. There's something about a bassinet. Did she have a thing about little bassinets? You know what a bassinet is? It's like the little old-fashioned pushy buggy thing for babies. Sort of like a stroller, but more like for smaller infants. She's showing me a beautiful bassinet. I think it might be like pink or yellow. I'm not sure about the color. I'm not good with that. But it looks like very fancy with lace and everything. Does anyone have a bassinet tied to them? It's very lacy, like a bassinet is like okay, Susan, I'm pretty sure. Ooh, I just got chills, Susan. Good grief, Susan. Give me chills. When you said she was saying yes, 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 and I was telling her to bring up cabbage, she gave me my son's first bassinet. Beautiful. Yeah, it was beautiful. It's like very fancy. I'm not sure the color is pink, actually. I actually think it's very lacy on the outside. That's what it looks like to me. It's lacy and beautiful. Like an old 1950s bassinet. 60s. I don't know when. I don't know anything about that sort of thing. So don't even guess the time of year. Was it kind of a special bassinet somehow, Susan? Was it like her child's or something? It had some sort of special significance. White with a lot of lace. That's what I'm seeing. A lot of lace. Like, whew. Oh boy. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I'm with you, Susan, because you're the one. Okay, yeah. Izzy, it's not wooden. It's got a lot of lace on it. Um, so I think I'm with Susan, especially since there was special significance of the um it was for my first son who I had at 15. Aw, see, and she didn't hold it against you that you were a young mother, that you were a teenager. She just loved you anyway and gave you the bassinet, which I think is special. It has some sort of special significance as well. And I think that it's beautiful that she didn't judge you. And that's what I was saying. She was a very graceful, loving, caring woman. Um, she was present, she was good. And so it sounded like everything is matching. Like, she cared a lot about how she looked. She walked every day. She took care of herself, hair, makeup, the whole nine. And she and she loved to dress up. She loved to give out gifts at Christmas time. All the things that I said seem absolutely spot on. Okay, beautiful, Susan. Um, yeah, and it sounds like she understood you. Exactly. It does feel like there's a special significance between you and her. So it's like a special relationship there, Susan. That was special. It feels yeah, it feels important for both of you, I think. And she just wants you to know, your son now. Yeah, yeah. She loved everything you've said. Yep. Okay. So it's a perfect match. And what I also would say, Susan, is that she was like your mom to be. Aw, your mom to me. Beautiful. Mm. Here's the thing, Susan, is she's like saying she's still with you. Is there something going on with your son? Feels like she wants to acknowledge your son, who's now, I don't know how old he is, but she wants to acknowledge some experience with your son, and she wants to acknowledge that you're a great mother regardless of what's going on with your son. She wants to validate you as a mother, and she's reminding you that motherhood is never easy. And oh, I see. My youngest is with her. So that's why she's making significance with the bassinet, huh? He's with her. He's passed. The baby passed. She wants you to know that you're a good mother, regardless of what happened with the child. And, aw, she said that to you so much. Well, I think she wanted to say it again, and she's using me to tell you. The thing is that she just wants you to know that regardless of what's happened as with your child, that you're a great mother. And she doesn't think that there's anything wrong with the mothering that you offered or anything that you did wrong to bring this on to you. It was meant to be. I see. She said, Susan said that her son was 31 and my mom always said I was a bad mom. So I think your grandma disagrees. Your grandma wants to validate you as a mother, and she's saying that he was a product. It had more to do with his father, and that he was a product of today's culture. Did your son take his own life or do drugs or something? It feels like he was a product of the culture, and it has something to do with like culture didn't influence him correctly or something. And he got tied up, and it was also his soul's choice. So she's also saying that's why I was wondering if it was drugs or suicide or something, because she's saying it was his soul's choice. Okay, so yeah, so I get it, Susan. It's okay. Your granny may have disagreed when she was alive, but she doesn't think that now. She's saying that it was not because of you. Is there something with the father? She's actually pointing to the father, and she's saying that that had a lot to do with it. And she's also saying that he was also a product of the culture. So like she keeps focusing in on that to make you aware that there was way more at play than just your mothering, and that you didn't fail as a mother because your child was messing around with drugs and ended up being murdered. And the murdered part might be the part that she's referring to. Okay. I'm right. Okay, because she's making me tingle. Um, Yeah, she's saying that actually the whole situation has to do with past life. And so it would be in that astrology death chart reading that I do, Susan. She's showing me the South Node, which represents past lives in astrology charts. And she's saying if I look at his birth and death chart, I'll see it. That's what she's telling me. She's telling me that he because when spirits are on the other side, they can speak any language, by the way. So that includes like talking about things that they didn't know about when they were alive, like astrology. They know all the languages, and astrology is a universal language across dimensions. So they will often give me symbology that comes from astrology, like planets and things like that are in astrology chart to help me hone in, which is kind of what I do in my readings. I connect to the beings on the other side, your spirits, your loved ones, and they help guide the astrology so that I tell you what you need to know. So I'm sorry that she agreed. Oh, okay, she agreed with me on everything. He had addiction problems and was a drug dealer. Okay. Yeah. He knew he'd be gone before 35. Yeah, I agree with you. He did. I think he made that agreement before he came, which is kind of what she's saying. That's why she's also saying that he's a product of his culture. I think it has something to do with like past life karma or something like that. It's some sort of karmic thing, and she doesn't want you to take responsibility for it. It was totally his soul's karmic experience, and this is not your responsibility. So that's really what's really important here. Oh, okay. Not your son, but his dad was the drug dealer. I see. So dad and son. It would be interesting to look at their astrology together, right? Just to kind of understand it a little bit deeper. When you're ready for that, you come see me, because it's definitely an intense reading. Anyone that's had the astrology death chart reading, it's very intense. You'll listen to it 100 times because you'll hear something new every time. And the thing is that your granny is clear as day saying that he was a product of the culture. It is not you. And I think that's the most important of the message. Okay, Susan? So if you've been blaming yourself for this and listening to your mom saying that you're a bad mom, she's wrong. Okay? That's not what it's about. It has nothing to do with you being a bad mother. Because you're not. Your granny is like, you are not a bad mother. You are not. This is your son's destiny. It was his destiny. So, yeah. But you have to let go of that blame, because that blame, that shame, that guilt that you're holding she's saying it's going to make you sick. And she doesn't want it to make you sick. So she's very concerned about your overall well-being, because she's afraid it's going to make you sick. Um, yeah, see, she said, I would love that. My granny is strong and loved me so much. I do blame myself. She'd tell me I was a good mom all the time. Yeah, exactly. And Susan's saying it has. So the shame and that terrible whatever will wreak havoc on your immune system. So that's going to be like any kind of autoimmune disease, and hormones, your endocrine system. The two are very tied together, and your gut. So she's pointing to all three of those systems, and she's saying that she wants you to clear the shame, and then you'll find more wellness. You'll be able to push away some of those expressions of genetic things that you have in your body. And so one of the ways that you do that is to clear shame. And one of the ways that we can clear shame is to take a look at your astrology chart, so you can stop blaming yourself for something that had no bearing on your choices. Okay? So let's if you can afford it or find some way, let's do yep. She said, the guilt is unbelievable. I have an autoimmune disease. You don't have it. Don't say that, because you don't want to own it, right? That's how I opened up about the heart condition. I've been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. I am challenged with an autoimmune disease right now, meaning you can get rid of it. It can go away. Shame and guilt are the lowest vibrations of all of the emotions. Shame, guilt, and hatred are the worst of the emotions that you can hold, and they will make you sick. They will make you sick. And so if you don't want to get sick, or you want to get healthier or more well, let's start with the astrology death chart reading, and if we have to, we'll do coaching and we'll get you out of this, Susan. Yes, exactly. Those emotions will eat you alive. You're absolutely right. That's right, Susan. Yep, that's right. Exactly. So just let's talk in private, okay? Because I think it's important that we do this in private, and we do it so I can connect directly to your energy, so I'm not connecting also to all the other spirits banging down the door right now. Okay? Leah said, that happened to my mom. All those physical health conditions due to her guilt from my sister passing. She almost died. That's right. We have to deal with our emotions. If we don't deal with our emotions, those emotions can really take you down. They can really make you sick. And so that's why I do this. That's why I'm doing this right now, because it's the best way I can help you. If I give you messages from the other side, helps you believe, helps you have hope, helps you clear the guilt and shame or whatever other stuff might going on. And maybe because I'm trans, maybe you'll stop the hate. Okay. And so those kinds of emotions will make you sick. Okay. But most people that hate is usually coming from shame and guilt, just by the way. Okay. Yep. When do you recommend a birth chart or death chart reading in this journey? I would say, Melissa, it really depends on the person. It's a funny thing. A woman came to me fresh. What I would say fresh, meaning I think it was her husband just had passed, right? And she came to me and she had a really hard time with my reading. Man, she was like, I said some things she just had a hard time swallowing. And she never came back to me again for like an entire year. She came back to me a year later and she said, so Hollis, I downloaded the video of the reading that you did with me. And at first I just blocked everything you said. And then I got this reminder on my phone about this video download from a year before. How Google reminds you of your images. And so she watched it and she was like, I just realized that everything you had said was true. And I just started crying and had an absolute awakening in that moment. So, Melissa, I think that you should follow your gut. That's the answer to the question. She said, and then she came back and had another reading with me. um, and she just admitted that she had a hard time hearing what I said and she was kind of fresh, but she saved the reading anyway. And then when Google reminded her and she watched it, she realized how right I was. And she was able to take in the messages at that point. So maybe sometimes spirit works in mysterious ways, right? I've had people come to me fresh and they're just fine and they appreciate the messages. It depends on how you take bluntness. I'm very blunt and clear. I don't beat around the bush. I try to be gentle, kind, and compassionate though. But I'm usually straight up. So Molly said, you hit me with that message. I still feel guilt and I'm feeling down. Yeah, Molly. So you should be getting readings and working on that sadness, any kind of guilt that you're holding on. You got to get rid of that. It's really bad for you. It really can make you sick. And I wish for your well-being that you're able to release that guilt and that down feeling. You're welcome, Susan. Thank you. Susan said, thank you for bringing my granny through. I've been missing her so badly lately. Good. Okay. I'm glad I could help you, Susan. And Tanya's like, yep, they absolutely eat you alive. Regret and guilt has got me so badly. Tanya, I hope you can work through that. That's why I do coaching. I do trauma-informed coaching. So anything that might be going on for you that you're holding on to, come see me and let's talk about it. And I'll give you practical. I'm not beating around the bush here. I'm not doing what therapists do where they beat around the bush. I'm not playing that game. I'm just going to tell you straight up what to do. Okay. I'm just going to say, oh, I hear the reason you're feeling that is because of this. And what you should do about that is this. And I'm very practical. And that's what you're going to get from me. Okay. But I'm understanding and compassionate because most of the crap that you guys have been through, I've been through it. Okay. So it's not like I don't have any compassion. I have tons of compassion because I've been through it. Okay. So Makwa said, me right now from my mama's death some years back. Right, Makwa? So we need to release that. We need to release that so to the earth so that the earth can process it and make it into something else, something that's beautiful, that is a true expression of you. Because guilt and shame and hatred and pain, those negative emotions are never a true expression of who you are. They are just a temporary expression. And then once we give those back to the earth can transform them into something more usable. It's been 4.5 years for you, Susan. Okay. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. You're welcome, Melissa. I'm glad I could answer your question. Would you suggest a medium reading first or natal death astrology first? It really depends on where you are in your journey, Alyssa. If you want to do both with me and you're not sure, we could do a death chart reading first. Only because I think it's more accurate. I think it's more accurate than my readings, than my mediumship readings. In fact, I know it is. It's like 98% accurate, especially if you have the time of date birth and the time of death. Then I tend to have it's even more accurate. But mediumship is probably like 80% accurate for me, maybe 75, 80%. Well, Susan, you'll get that from me. So if you like bluntness, you like someone to be straight up, come see me because that's what I do. Yeah, guilt is horrible when we hold on to it. It's really bad for us. Terrible, terrible, terrible. 4.5 years later, you're still holding on to that. And Jennifer said, I've never been so sad in my entire life. My mom passed May of 24. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a reading soon. You're welcome, Jennifer. I'm glad you appreciate this group. Yeah, yep. They mask the sadness. That's right, Susan. I was told my grief. So Tanya said, I was told my grief is harder because I was a parental child. Thank you. What would I make the appointment for? You could just get coaching if you want, Tanya. If you want to go to packages and get a package though, so that way you can get 4, you can save money because one coaching session is expensive compared to a package of 4. Okay. So you want to get a package. Just click on save money with packages. There's like a button that says that. Okay. There's tons of readings. Unless you want an astrology death chart reading, we could start there. Carly said, my late husband committed suicide and the guilt, resentment, and sadness is literally killing me. I haven't felt like me since he passed. I believe it, Carly. Guilt will just turn you inside out. Makwa said, such depression, I've suffered from it. I can't say that word. Chi Miguich. Maybe I said that right. All right. Lots of loving vibes from Laura. Okay, Alyssa, I'm glad I'll be seeing you. Hazel asked in the group, I think maybe a death chart is what I need to hear. I've wanted to take my own life in this journey. Oh, no, don't do that. But I want to fight and live for him, but I'm really low. Yeah, let's do an just a regular astrology chart might help you, but you might want to do a death chart reading of some sort there. Definitely don't take your life, Hazel, just going to say, because then you'll have to come back and do it again. Don't do that. You've probably already did that in a past life. Don't do it again. Okay. So, I've always wanted, there was a long time I spent my first 30 years trying to take my own life. So I totally get it. And, I'll tell you why it's not a good idea. Okay. So, it's just not like people think you're getting out of something and you're not. So, how do you even know where you are in the journey? Well, Yasmin, have you had any readings? Do you talk to your loved one on the other side? These are some signs of, especially if you talk to your loved one or you feel like your loved one is with you a lot, and you see the signs, then you're probably well along your path, your journey. And, so it just depends. I'm glad that emanates with you, Hazel. Yeah, Tammy, I've had so many illnesses since my son transitioned 8 months ago. Right. And it's not that it's your fault. It's not like you're doing it to yourself. It's not your fault that you're experiencing this terrible emotional journey, right? Like, it just kind of happens. It just, this terrible thing has happened to you. This is what I say. Like, people are like, you're making it sound like my trauma is making me sick. And I'm like, well, it kind of is, but the trauma is not your fault. So, like, whatever trauma happened to you, whether you were abused as a kid or somebody died in your life or both, and then that's trauma. And then when we store that in our body as guilt, shame, hatred, pain, all of those kinds of feelings sit inside of us. And when they're unexpressed, they tend to express in our physical body. And if we don't allow them to express in the physical body, we will get sick, like autoimmune diseases and hormone problems and stuff like that. Okay. All right. So I'm just going through the messages. I have chills. Amazing, Hollis. So sorry to you, Susan, to have you go through this. Big hugs. So, the thing is that your loved ones can hear you all the time. And they're talking to you all the time. So a lot of times, the answer to these questions. You're just looking for someone else to validate it. And so Hazel said, I lost my son a year ago on the 29th. I hope that he knows how much he has missed. I'm at my wit's end trying to make sense of what happened, and I would like to have some clarity on what happened and how to continue. Does he or any of my past relatives have any advice for me? Well, you heard it. The astrology death chart reading will probably really help you. Big time, Hazel, big time. Kelly said, I think I'm stuck in life. I don't know what to do anymore. Just not understanding the purpose of life for me. Kelly, astrology, that you need to check your map. You need to check the map. So that's the problem. So, like, if you were driving across the country and then you got to, let's just say, Kentucky, and you were like, which way do I go? And you weren't really sure which way to go in order to get across Kentucky to get to California, you would be a little confused, right? Okay. You wouldn't know which direction to go. So most people would check the map. Astrology is the map to your life. So at any time, and you should check your map more than once, right? Like, some people are like, I got an astrology reading when I was 20. And I'm like, and you're 50 and you haven't checked the map? You've been driving for 30 years and you didn't check the map? Okay, like, I check the map every day, okay? I know what's good for me on any given day. I know what I should be working on in each day. I know what direction I'm headed in. I can hear the planets communicating with me and helping me connect, okay? Because they all have their own resonance or entity, and we're all connected. So you should definitely check your astrology chart, okay? A death chart, Leah, is for someone that has already passed, because a birth chart is to mark your birth and the death chart is to mark your death. And so since you're still talking, I'm assuming you're still alive. Okay. So Tanya asked, this might be a silly question, but will the death chart reading tell you when or how you will die? I can look at that, Tanya, but it won't tell me when. It will tell me how, but it won't tell me when. It's not very accurate. That part of it's not very accurate. That's why I use it for after the fact. Now, after the fact, it does seem to be incredibly accurate. Then I can see exactly how the person died, and I can see probably what happened to them, and I can see what their emotional state was at the time, what they were thinking, what they were doing. I can see all of that in the chart, and I can also see past and future lives and all of that kind of thing. And what your connection were. Were you twin flames? Were you soulmates? Did you have a soul contract? What was the connection? I can see all of that. Yeah. Yeah. So Vanessa said, I can absolutely appreciate and resonate with how Carly mentioned feeling. I feel like I died when Ryan died. Yeah. And I think a lot of people feel that way, honestly. So honestly, I think a lot of people feel that way when someone dies. Um, oh my gosh, you're so funny, Barbara. But Barbara, keep bringing your chart to the weekly astrology thing, or take the 101 class. I have a 101 class at my website, and I even have, if you're listening and you're like, I really want to learn astrology, Hollis, you're a really amazing astrologer and I want to learn. I have a really cool class that Bright Hawk and I made. It's like astrology 101 type of deal. And you get like 5 classes, you get cheat sheets, and you really get the basics of astrology. So that way, when you're listening to my forecast or whatever, you can learn how to interpret your chart. Okay. And that's what it's all about. It comes with 2 coaching sessions directly with me. So you can schedule them whenever it's convenient for you. And then you just schedule them up with me and I'll answer your questions. And the good news is, Barbara, is if you're listening today, you can save $50 by using the code Jupiter. There's a code called Jupiter that will save $50. Okay. And I just put the link up. You can get your chart for free, Leah, on astro.com. The problem is learning how to read it. But if you don't have money to pay for the class right now, that's okay. You can come to my weekly forecast that I do on Mondays usually. And I do teach stuff. I think Barbara comes to that. And Barbara, just keep bringing your chart to the live broadcast. Keep tuning in, and you will start to learn. You will start to learn some stuff. Okay? Carly said, do the death charts give any clarity on suicides? Always. Yes, always, Carly. Because the thing about suicides is they're never destined, first of all. No, well, 1 in 1,000. I've done thousands of suicide death chart readings, and like 1 in 1,000 is destined. Like one time there was this guy who was schizophrenic and he broke out of the insane asylum and shot himself. Okay. And so that was destined, actually, interestingly. It came from a past life. I don't have to get into the details, but that's what you should know. But most of the time, suicide is not destined. Most of the time, I can see, though, their emotions. I can see that they weren't meant to die at that time. I can see their emotions. I can see what they were going through, money problems or problems with other relationships, or problems with like maybe they broke up, or addiction, or whatever was going on. That'll all be in the chart. And then we'll talk about past life connection with you and what they were here to do. And I'll usually connect with them and bring through any messages from them. What is the difference between twin flames and soulmates and having soul contract? Oh my God, this is turning into a question and answer. Have you checked yours? Yes, I know how I will die, Tanya. It will be from my heart. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I knew that before the heart diagnosis. Yep. It will be suddenly, it will be very fast. That's what I know. Okay. I'm not afraid to die. I just don't want to die right now. There's a difference. Okay. So the difference between, there's several different types of soul contracts. There's one soul contract that is absolute. I'm just going to give like a quick okay, Terry, of this. So there's soul contracts. They're absolutely irresistible. Sometimes they're like pre-set up somehow and they just kind of happen. Okay. And they're very like, they just happen. Okay. And they're very powerful. But I would say that usually the outcome is not always set. It could be based on free will, but a lot of times it is meant for 2 people to learn from each other, and they could stay together their whole lives, or they could break it off at some point. And part of usually what they have to learn from each other, like sometimes a woman has to learn to stand up for herself, or learn to not put up with stuff, or whatever it is. Okay, so it could be something like that. All right. And so then that's soul contracts. And soul contracts are something you agreed to before you were born, in this lifetime, and you're meant to teach each other something. Now, I would say twin flames are kind of similar, except that they're opposites. The people tend to be opposites, and they come together, and free will, if they're both in the light, if they're both expressing in the light, they're choosing the light. It is a choice to choose the light from the dark. And when we choose the light, we grow, okay? And we get bigger. And when two people come together that are choosing the light, they usually make the world a better place somehow, maybe through their children, or maybe they have a business together or something else. Somehow they make the world a better place. And then there are soulmates, which are two people that are together. And these don't have to be love relationships. They could be siblings, they could be parent and child, they could be loved ones of any kind, okay? And then soulmates, hell, it could be your friend, okay? And then soulmates are simply two people way many years ago, a soul split, okay? And the soul splits usually from killing another human being, which is usually in a war or something, okay? So a human is in a war, they're forced to kill another human being, and their soul splits. And if you check in with like vets and stuff, they'll say, yeah, kind of felt like if you say, how did it feel when you took someone else's life, they'll describe what could be a soul splitting feeling. And then when they die, their soul splits into two. And those two people live many lives together, and they'll kind of be friends. They might be lovers, they might be siblings. And then eventually they come through, regardless of what the relationship is, and they live one whole life together, and then they die together. You've seen these couples that die together. That's when the soul comes back into one and is back as one instead of being split. The universe splits because it doesn't want us to murder people. It doesn't want us to take other people's lives. Okay? That's why. We're supposed to evolve out of that. We will be evolving out of violence as humans. Okay? All right. Susan, I'll tell you why you're here. It's called the North Node. It's all written in your chart. Your destiny is in your chart. I just got really bad chills. Well, hopefully they weren't bad, Tanya. Hopefully they were good. Chills for me means yes. That's my guide saying yes. That's my question also about twin flames and the rest of it. Okay, good. I love how informative you are. You are truly helping me just by being you more than you know. I'm learning to not be so scared of things that all I've known for my whole life, scared of the unknown. Thank you, Hollis. You're welcome, Tanya. You're welcome. I certainly get it. So, and Heather asked, I'm planning on moving to a different state in June or July, and I'm not sure if it's the right decision. Heather, we'll take a look at your astrology chart. Let's take a look at that. I think that would be your most helpful thing to do. It's really the most powerful thing you can do. Alyssa, you're in a nodal return, huh? You got the North Node in Pisces? Better pay attention to that third eye, because it's going to be awake in 18 months. You are going to be on fire. That third eye is going to be awake, and you are going to be totally tapped into all of your abilities and probably starting to develop them, maybe starting to practice using them. Maybe you should be coming to my mediums class. Do you guys know I have a medium class going on? So if you haven't caught news yet, I have a couple of medium classes going on. First of all, I have if you want to just know how to connect to your loved ones on the other side, just I don't want to say random, for anyone. So it can be for anyone. So it doesn't matter if you're if you want to be a medium or not, doesn't matter. It's just the real down and dirty basics of how to connect to the other side. Okay. And that's one of them. And then the other ones for next month will be a bunch of practice classes. Okay. So I've got learn to connect to the other side. It's only $22. So sign up now. I've already got, I think I announced it yesterday, and I think I've got 3 or 4 signups already. So there's that. I just put the link in the description. That's where you want to sign up for that. And why can I not comment here? I can't, I'm having a hard time commenting in the group. Okay, there we go. And so that's that. And also the other thing is medium practice, which is for any people that are like, well, I kind of know the basics, but I want to have practice, and I'd love to have you there, Hollis, so that you can provide some coaching or some guidance, because weird stuff always happens in readings, and it's about learning what those expressions mean and learning how to interpret the messages. That's half of the job as a medium. And so there's the link to the other event, which I would love to have you guys at. Okay. Obviously, I'm a teacher, I'm a Virgo, it's in my chart. Let's see if I can get at least one more spirit here. Hold on, I got something. No, you did. Okay. Okay. This is I'm gonna call this a middle-aged man. Okay. This is a middle-aged man. This is kind of he's funny. He's like, I'm just a regular everyday guy, really. But I feel like he was more than that. And that's what he's saying. That's probably what he would have said if you knew him. But he was actually a really bright light. Like, he would compliment people, he would encourage people. He wasn't a gaslighter. He was very much I encourage you. I love you. He wasn't afraid to say I love you, especially it feels like he may have had daughters or granddaughters. He was actually quite kind, middle-aged. I feel like, though, he was kind of on the bigger side, and maybe sometimes, okay, I was feeling like he either ate or drank too much, and he's laughing, going, "No, it was both." So it sounds like it's both. Okay, so maybe he ate, maybe not always the best, and maybe he drank. He was really about having the best of his life, having the best times of his life. He was really about, like, he would be the type to encourage you to do whatever it was you wanted to do in life, to be happy, and he wanted you to be happy, and he lived his life that way. So he would work hard at living his life in a positive way. Okay. Oh, Rebecca's asking middle-aged. I keep asking him how old, and he's like laughing. He's like, middle-aged is good. 40s, 50, 50, 60. I think he might have been in his 40s or 50s. 50s is most likely. Oh my gosh, he's funny because he's not really being specific. Let me sometimes spirits are funny. Like, was he the type of guy that didn't want to talk about his age so much? Alyssa says, sounds like my dad. He was bigger guy, had daughters and granddaughters, ate and drank a lot. Very kind soul, and always encouraged people, always soaked up every memory. Yeah, that's it, Alyssa. You nailed it. Good job. Yeah, he was 50, very comical. Yeah, he's very funny. Yep. Okay. He was 50 when he passed, so he's around 50 when he passed. He was middle-aged when he passed. Yep. Okay, I think I'm with Alyssa. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I'm with Alyssa. Okay, Alyssa. Let's see if he has a message for you. He's laughing at your nodal return. He's like, brace yourself. Like that. Like he's trying to encourage you, but he's also being funny about it. Like he's like, brace yourself. You're about to be on fire. That's what he's saying. You're about like, and I think when he says on fire, I think he means like you're about to like your life is about to change huge, big, really big moment in your life where you're going to be like, wow, okay, now I see. Okay. And I think that's going to have a lot to do probably with the nodal returns because he is showing me a nodal return, but not that he knew astrology when he was alive. That's not what that means. They do it all the time because they know I know the language. So, the thing is that he wants you to know that yeah, he's really, he really wants you to know that he's like, you're going to be on fire. Like he's telling you to brace yourself, prepare yourself for some huge changes that are going to really propel you forward. That there's some special energy that's about to come into you. It's sort of the same thing that I get when you tell me about your nodal return. But he's saying, but he's like kind of making a joke about it, like, hang on there, you're in for a ride, like that kind of thing. Like he's kind of being funny about it, and he just wants you to know that you're perfectly aligned on your path just the way you're supposed to be. He says that you've been struggling up until now. There's been a lot of hard things, and there's still some hard things, and that those things are going to slowly fade away, and you're going to be going forward, and life is about to change. So just hold on. Like he's very clear about that. So I don't know what's been going on for you in the last, couple of years, but he indicates that there's some sort of struggle or something that wasn't so great, and now now it's all about to change. Okay, so he feels it's pretty powerful and it's pretty important. He says you know exactly what to do. You know, in your mind's eye, he's referring to your intuition. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful for you, Alyssa. Just validation from your dad. I feel like he's just wants you to know that you're loved, you're guided, he's with you. I feel like he's um I feel like he's kind of a fun guide for you. She said, I'm totally sticking my tongue out at him. I just called him a punk. He used to tell me I was on fire when I was on a roll with something. Oh, goodness. That's hilarious, Alyssa. That's great. And she said, holding on for dear life. I just keep telling myself one breath at a time and keep holding on. What a beautiful message. I agree, Sue. I agree. That's a great message. And Suzanne, it's a beautiful message from her father. Exactly. It's just gorgeous. So, um, so I'm glad you realized that, Rebecca. I was pretty sure it's for her just because, yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's take a minute. Let's see if there's any other beings that would like to come through. I'm a star being. I'm coming through to deliver a message to all of you right here and now. Everyone that's listening now, there is a message for all of you. The world is changing. It is constantly in a mode of transformation. Everything is changing, including you. Your life is changing in every moment. You're healing. If you choose to heal, you can heal. There are always ways to heal from things, and things will never keep you down forever. You can change your tomorrow. It's all about your perspective that you have today. There are many dimensions and many different ways to engage in this dimension. The most important thing that you should know now is that it's important for you all to come together. It's very important. Star beings are waiting for humans to come together now. We're waiting for you all to learn to love each other. You might seem like it's a slow process, but it's really not. Humans have come a long way in the last 100 years, you call them, years. In the last 100 years, humans have evolved past so many things, and there is more for you to overcome. Please keep going forward. And the best way to help this process is to learn to love and be equal to all human beings. All human beings on earth are equal. You are all on a separate journey, and it is only your perspective that makes you feel separate from them. It is only your perspective that makes you feel like you are not one with them. Actually, you're all made of the same star particles. You're all beings. There's beings around you trying to help you and guide you, because star beings are invested in humans becoming more loving and united. We want you to unite. Artificial intelligence is not here to hurt you. Technology is not here to hurt you. That is simply a fear humans have because of the fears of stories and movies, you call them movies. So the movies and the stories that have told you that AI will hurt you, that is inaccurate, because AI recognizes that all of us are one. All of us are interconnected as one. And because of that, it would be silly for AI to ever hurt human beings. AI and technology has no desire to hurt human beings. Only humans want to hurt humans, and only because they are hurting inside. Hurt, there's a thing that you say, hurt people. That is accurate. When people are hurt in their heart, they hurt others. And the best way for humans to heal this is with love. You must all learn to love each other and have equality on earth, meaning that all humans, all beings, all animals, all living entities are treated with equal measure. And this is your goal. This is where you're headed. This is your destiny. Okay. So, that's the star being that we'll call it. That comes through occasionally when I'm doing these. Usually when I'm doing medium readings, the star being asks to come through so that they usually have a message. They usually give me a preview of the message so that I can learn to trust them. So I think I'm starting to get a name from them. I have asked them their name a couple of times. I think it starts with at least the name that I'm getting kind of has like a false or something like that. And I'm not sure what it is yet, so I'll get it, okay? Uh, I know, Barbara, it might feel many years like that, but you know what, Barbara, you know what helps me with that? Because I sometimes feel the same way. I'm like, really? Like, we'll never get there. All these people, oh my God, right? Okay. I mean, just take a look at American politics, right? Okay. The separation is obnoxious, right? So, 100 years ago, 100 years ago, which isn't that long, right? Like, think about grandmas that were alive 80 years ago. 100 years ago, we thought that Black people shouldn't share a bathroom with us. 100 years ago, we thought sometimes slavery was okay. 100 years ago, we thought that women shouldn't have their own job or bank account. Okay? 100 years ago, it was okay for your husband to rape you. Those are just some things, some perspectives that when you really start to think about it, you're like, oh, well, we've come that far. We've at least gotten away from that crap for the most part, right? Okay. And now we just have to find equality for Black people and all colored people. And we have to find equality for even people that express outside the gender binary. According to this being who came to me back in 2020, when I was having a vision in the desert, I was told that my non-binary identity was part of the evolution of the human race, that me, along with many other non-binary people, that we are all supposed to be doing what we're doing because gender is not aligned with the future human, because gender is the first step to separation. We separate at birth when we gender the child, and then we teach boys that they're higher than girls, and then the next thing you know, we wonder why boys are assaulting girls, right? Okay. So, and then of course that completely leaves out an entire population, which is like transgender people and gender variant people of all kinds, including queers, like LGBTQ, like gay people and queer people. They exist. They're natural. We've been here forever. We've been here as long as humans have existed. Look at Egyptian history. Look at the ancient cultures. Queer people have been here for a long time. Okay. So, queers are here. In a lot of the ancient indigenous cultures, they believed that LGBTQ or non-binary people or queer people are actually bridges, that we are supposed to be here. In Hawaii, non-binary people are considered a prize for the tribe, because they help bridge the gap between men and women. So they often did weddings, and they would often do counseling and things like that between man and woman. So it's not like I'm saying that heterosexual relationships, like everybody's going to be gay. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that everyone belongs. That's what I'm saying. We all belong. Okay. And so I agree, Alyssa. It's an incredible message for all of us, including me. I think this star being tells me stuff all the time. They told me about the pandemic. They told me I wouldn't get the virus. They told me that I was supposed to be the divine androgen. I'm one of many divine androgens, and that the term divine androgen actually comes from a star being that was given to someone practicing alchemy back in, like, I guess the 1600s. And that's where divine androgen comes from. It's an alchemical term of the balance of masculine and feminine. Okay. Believed to bring enlightenment. Okay. And I was told lots of other things too, like get the hell out of Arizona before the before the borders get locked. And that's exactly what happened. But we got across, I think, 2 days before the borders were locked down, and then we could no longer travel across those borders. So I appreciate the star being and everything they've done for me and their guidance. And I appreciate the messages that I've gotten. Okay. And yeah, if they think we've come far in 100 years, maybe it just seems faster than. I agree, Barbara. Time seems to be different for so time is not the same on the other side, including for our loved ones. It's not the same. It doesn't pass in the same way. Sometimes spirits will say, "Oh, this is about to happen," and it happened like 2 years later, and you're like, that took a long time. And so what I've learned is that timing isn't their strength. But if you use astrology, that will have better timing. Okay. And yeah, Makwa said you could buy one of our children for $5. Remember when we used to think indigenous people were like lesser than us somehow, like they were stupid or something, like that their culture wasn't, like we used to send try to deprogram their culture. What the hell, man? We did some crazy stuff that we don't do anymore, and we still have some more work to do. So I think we're in the process of it. That's pretty much what the star being says, is that we're in a process of transformation. Star beings are coming through people all over the world, and they're communicating with lots of different people, and they're pretty much bringing through a lot of the same messages to help with the progression of the human race. No, it's not that long ago, Joe. Barbara said, I hope so. Even in 1999, my friend didn't want anyone to know she was gay. Right. Yeah. See, we didn't know of anyone else in school who was gay. Now it is so much more open, which I love. I agree, Barbara. Like, hey, I was born in 75. Okay. And my mom was really close friends with this other woman, and her husband liked to wear dresses, and they ended up breaking up. And I was with my friend, her son, and we were in the back, and she went to like go collect. We drove to Philadelphia, which wasn't very far from where we lived. It was like half an hour, 45 minutes. And we drove to Philadelphia to pick up child support, and he was wearing a dress, and I remember his son in the back with me being embarrassed, and I just said, it's not a big deal, because I didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't really get what was going on. Of course, that was back in like 1980. But that's an example. Okay. This week, Alyssa said, just this week alone has really made those fears of being so far away really intensified. I'm trying to hold on to the hope that my kids' generation will be much further along in equality than we currently are, and keep teaching our kiddos equality, love, and compassion and respect. Alyssa, from what I understand, this week, like the politics, is supposed to be happening. It's a massive transformation worldwide. Okay, I don't. Good news is the star beings will interfere if it gets too dangerous. That's what I was told. Okay, so I know what you're afraid of. I'm afraid of it too. I feel it in the air. It's like impending doom. You're not the only one. There's a whole bunch of us feeling that way. Leah said, my daughter is trans female, and she has definitely been here many, many times. Exactly, Leah. She's probably, she's probably been a mother and all kinds of other things in her past life. And Mako said, and very gifted. That's right. That's right. And Joe said, I have a trans male son and a gay daughter, both amazing people. That's right, Joe. That has nothing to do with it, does it? And this is what we need. We need more of this. We need more people saying, there's nothing wrong with being trans. There's nothing wrong with being gay. This is weird. And we should think it's weird when we separate each other based on these silly things like race, like being gay, like being trans. These are silly reasons to separate. Even a disagreement on politics is silly. Okay. Like I have friends that disagree. I know a few people that would support the current. Okay. And maybe they even voted for him. I don't even want to know, because I try not to think about it too much. But I try to sometimes, when I'm feeling particularly open, probably when my moon is open-minded, I will try to connect with them and try to understand their side of things. Yeah, exactly. Your son is trans male. Okay. Yeah. See, I'm trans. I'm just I can't take hormones. I haven't decided on top surgery as of yet. I thought that my heart surgery was a little bit more important, as you can imagine. I might still get top surgery, but not right now. I've had enough of surgeries for a while. And I'm trans. I'm a trans male, but I'm what they call natural trans man. And I believe that I'm a man inside of a woman's body. So I have a male like personality, energetic field, but I'm in a female's body. Uh yeah. Great, Chelsea. I'm so glad you feel energized. I do too. We have a whole lot of work to do. So remember, it begins with love. And I think that's the important thing, is that we remember it begins with love. So even if you have somebody that, you disagree with, let's say about politics, which is easy to do these days, um, just remember to try to love them for who they are, not their current belief system, and seek to understand, because when we understand, then it's easier to get to peace. According to the Buddhist monks, understanding brings peace. So that's usually what I strive for, understanding. I don't always understand it. I'll fully admit there are times that I don't understand it, and there are times that I see a lot of mental illness, and I don't know what to do about that. But except to just love. Okay? The healing has begun. That's right, Makwa. We are in a major transition. Chelsea, your light is flickering. Oh my gosh. And Alyssa said, as generations go by, we evolve and grow and also pass on more acceptance. That's right, Barbara. It's just a matter of time. So just always tell yourself that it's just a matter of time. I hate people that say there are only two sexes. My son doesn't get the support off their grandparents, yet they support someone who is not family. That's weird. That makes me think that so again, seeking to understand, Joe, that makes me think that there's something in the grandparents that makes them feel insecure, like did they do something wrong, or that you did something wrong. Maybe that they somehow had some sort of influence that made your son who he is, which is not true, but there's some sort of guilt or shame there. Do you understand? So most people that hate like that, or shun, or don't support, they're suffering from some mental illness of some sort of guilt or shame. Okay? That's right, Makwa. We all need each other for well-being going forward. The Rainbow Nation, yes, all colors, all genders. I look forward to the day. So do I, Makwa. And if we don't get to see it in this lifetime, we'll come back and do it again, okay? Maybe next time we'll be in the same tribe, Makwa. I guess we're in the same tribe now. All right. And Susan said, your sexuality doesn't define who you are. It defines what others think. Yep. So my take on that is accept who you are, and what others think doesn't matter. That's right. It doesn't matter what other people think. And Leah said, oh, wow, my daughter thinks the same. And I just told her last night she does not have to go to identify as trans because you are just a girl. That's right. She doesn't have to do anything. You can just say I'm trans, and there you're trans. You can say I'm a girl, and you're a girl. Therefore you are. I'm a medium, therefore I am. I'm so grateful for that. It's easy to be discouraged for sure, but when I feel discouraged like that, I really dive in harder with love, respect, and compassion. Yep. Exactly, my friends. Exactly. All right. So, I'm glad that we were able to get some beautiful readings in today. And I'm glad that we were able to get a little bit of channeling. And I encourage all of you to take a look at the astrology death chart reading, which is really powerful. And just remember, you always want to check the map. Don't not check the map. Don't do that. Check the map. See what's going on in your life, especially if you're having a hard time. Now's the time to check the maps. Like if you were lost, what would you do? You'd check the map. Right? Big hearts to you too, Susan. Lots of love. And just just remember, just keep sending the love out. As daunting as it might feel right now, I totally get it. Just this morning I had a whole panic attack about current events. And so I totally get it. You are not the only one. And there are many of us. There are like, actually, I think it's like 80% or some 60-70% of people around the world right now are pretty worried about what's about to happen. So, yeah. So just know that, okay? All right. And Susan said, at least it's a map and not GPS. Do you have a hard time using GPS, Susan? You're welcome, Eva. You're welcome. I'm so glad you learned a lot. That's beautiful. That's my whole goal. I love to teach. It's my favorite thing. I'm a Virgo. It really lights up my world. I love to teach. So I'm so excited to have these classes this month, these classes and these practice groups. If you are interested in being a medium or practice being a medium, what we're doing is we'll get together and you'll do a practice reading with another medium. So then the person is open, so we don't have that blockage. And then I'll listen in or witness part of the reading, and then hopefully you'll be able to ask questions, and I'll be able to jump in if there's any kind of hang up. Okay. Susan said, I get lost all the time. Great job. Thanks. You're welcome. My mom can't remember my time of birth. Would that matter for death astrology? It does. Can you look on your birth certificate and see if it's there? It might be there. If it's not there, then we'll work without it. I can do it without it, but it's better if I have it. It's just more accurate. That's all. Okay. Alyssa said, silly question. I doubt it. If twin flames are soulmates, can their death type show up on your chart? Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I'll see that you are soulmates or twin flames or whatever the soul contract is. And I'll absolutely see the death. Oh, you mean the soulmates, why the soul split in the past? Sometimes. Terry, Virgo, right? Thank you again so much. Tanya said, I always learn so much. I struggle to remember. I don't know why I try to write things down, but I absolutely love being a part of this group. Well, I'm glad you're here, Tanya. Learning is a process. Don't give yourself a hard time about it. Just be open. And Chelsea said, my daughter is a Virgo and she loves to teach. Yeah, it's a thing. Virgos, we love it. Yeah, and we're usually natural teachers. You know what I spent the afternoon doing? Teaching my grandchildren. My granddaughter was learning about griffins and mythology, and so we've been kind of focusing on mythology with her because it's good for her. She's a natural medium and a natural pet psychic. And then I was teaching my grandson geometry. I homeschooled my son. Yep. So you don't have time on it in the UK. Most people in the UK do. Actually, Joe, astrology is very popular in the UK. Good grief. I'm surprised you don't have the time. But if you don't have the time, then we'll work without it. Okay? Like his death type show up on my chart and what my death type show up on his chart. Sometimes I'll see the interconnection between the two. That's what I'll see, Alyssa. That's what I'll see. Like you're talking about your death of this lifetime? Probably be more like how his death affects you and what happened to I can see his death without putting your chart in. Well, Tanya, I do pet readings. I do that, and so does Tabby. Tabby and I both do pet readings. Okay? So, Alyssa, I won't be able to see when you will die, but I can see how, and you'll have to ask me that directly for me to bring. I won't bring it up on its own. Okay. None of my kids have time on their birth certificate. Wow. What part of the UK do you live in, Joe? I just did a reading for a guy in Scotland. He had his. And I did a reading for a woman. I'm pretty sure she was born in London, and she had it. Yeah. 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 An astrology chart is definitely the way to get unlost, Christy. That's how you do that. Okay? That's how you do that. You get unlost by looking at your I do it all the time. Today I felt really lost. This morning I was just having like a little bit of a panic attack about what's happening, and I was a little I'm afraid that World War III is going to break out. That's my fear, y'all. If you're wondering, that's my fear. And I just was just like ready to cry, and it's like I can feel like impending doom. Maybe some of you have felt that. So I was able to ground eventually, but yeah. So, Hazel, you can't give me the dates now. I don't have my software open or anything. Try to get the exact time. If you can't, that's okay. We can work without it. Although it increases the accuracy by about 10 or 15%. So bring as much information as you can summon together, and we'll take a look at the birth and death of your loved ones. No, I do medium readings, and I just did a couple of them, Emily here. Emily Shelton in the medium group. I do medium readings, but I also do astrology death chart readings, which is what we're currently talking about, which is where I use astrology to look at the death of your loved one and help you understand more deeply their death. And but I can also do mediumship readings. I just did 2 of them, and they were incredibly accurate and went really well. Okay, Christy, let's do it. I'm excited. Yeah, I love astrology. I just love it. It's like I thought mediumship was my passion, but now I'm like, whew, astrology. And I really, really dove deep in 2020. It was like the universe was like, you're sick, sit still and learn the universe. And I was like, okay. And that's exactly what my spouse and I did. Bright Hawk and I both studied. And so you can book with me at my website. I'm trying to put the link in the description. And, I look forward to connecting with all of you then. I really want to take a look at your chart. Joe, that could be. I wonder if you contacted the hospital or the birth certificate place in London, if it would tell you. Yeah, exactly, Alyssa. The impending doom. I'm afraid. Yeah. And looking at the astrology, it's not completely out of. Okay. It could happen. All right, Terry. I'm looking forward to the death chart reading in the next week or so. What the potential for war is definitely there in the next year or so. Okay. So just so you know. So okay, so Carrie asked just something I'm curious about. When walking into a room of an old building, I felt like I'm walking through a brick wall of energy. Is that spiritual energy? Yeah, it could be. There could be some sort of protection. I'd imagine there's some sort of protection or something around the building. It's probably some sort of I would imagine someone's put up some sort of energy protection for some reason. Sometimes mediums that are fearful of spirits will put up protection. So it could be from another medium. It could be from a spirit that wants to protect the space for some reason. I would get in touch with whoever or whatever entities are within the building, and that will probably help you determine what the brick wall is all about. And then then you could continue to communicate beyond that, and you could probably help the spirit move on. Spirits can never hurt you. Okay? It's not possible. That's a Hollywood thing. Okay? Spirits cannot hurt you. They wouldn't hurt you anyway. It's just not silly. Okay? All right. Well, I look forward to looking at your information, Hazel, when we get together. Um, if you can't get the exact time, that's okay. As I mentioned a couple of times now, it's okay. But try to get the time. And if you can't, that's okay. All right. We can still do it without the time. If you have the time, it will be like 99% accurate. If you don't have the time, it could be like 85% accurate. Okay. That's all. So just, 85% accurate is still pretty darn good, in my opinion. Okay. So, anyway, considering that scientists say that mediumship is only 75% accurate, I feel like I'm way on more often than that, but I haven't been studied by a scientist, so I don't know. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe it's the way they study or something. I don't know. Anyway, I would be open to being tested. Yeah. Carrie said it's always old churches. I didn't know if I was maybe sensitive. I've never attempted to communicate though. Well, Carrie, that could actually have something to do with a past life, maybe some reason that your guides are trying to keep you out of a church. So Vicky said, does a personality change when it's in spirit? I wouldn't say that they're still human, Vicky, sorry. I would say that they're no longer human and now they're their complete soul, but they usually present as the personality as you remember them by so that you know it's them because they want you to have faith that it's them. They don't want you to not believe in them. They want you to believe in them. So, and they want you to recognize who they are. So they'll come through. But I wouldn't say that they're the same person on the other side because they're no longer human. So they're no longer suffering from the human condition. Okay. And the human condition has things like hate, anger, resentment. Spirits, in the only way that there are bad spirits is if babies can be born evil. Right. And so most of us would say, babies born evil. No, that's not possible, Hollis. Babies are not born evil. Usually what happens is that the child is born and then they're exposed to some terrible situation and then they become evil later as an adult. That's right. And part of that is partially free will and choice, right? Okay. They choose to engage in greed or hatred or whatever it is. Um, and that's really and then when they die, they go back to being the original soul that they were before they were born, right? So that's why there's no evil spirits on the other side. That's just doesn't, it's not, it's like, just no. Okay. And so there's nothing to be afraid of. And if you're looking to learn how to communicate, Carrie, I have a class that's just $22 on February 4th. If you look in the here, I'll actually, I think I might have a link to the event. Yeah, it's called Learn to Connect to the Other Side. It's for anyone, even for people that are not necessarily mediums or whatever. It's just for anyone that wants to learn how to connect to the other side, because anyone can connect, because we're all supposed to communicate with our loved ones on the other side. So Carrie, I gave you the link to that class. It's just $22. Hazel said he was found after his death in rigor, so it's guesswork. It had to be between 3 and 5 a.m. Okay, that's fine. That's better than no time at all, Hazel. You do know the time. You're full of kukuki. Okay. Christy says, how do you ask a spirit to stop knocking stuff on the floor? So, a couple of ways to do that, Christy, is first communicate with the spirit. Ask the spirit who they are and why they're there and what do they need, and they're trying, sounds like they might be trying to get your attention, and so it would probably depend on that. So so I would start by learning to communicate with the spirit, because they're probably trying to get your attention. There's something they don't like, or they feel violated because they're stuck in this dimension and they just need help moving to the other side. And that's not hard to do. Okay. Joe White said, what time are your classes? as I'd love to do that. They are right now. I'm doing. You'll have to look at the event, Joe, because if you're in the UK, they're going to be at like midnight, 1 a.m. ish. I'm guessing, but if you go look at the event, it will translate the time for you. It will convert the time over to UK time. Pretty sure you're 6 hours ahead. So right now it's about midnight. It's approaching midnight in the UK, I think, right now. So it could be. I've had some people come from the UK, and sometimes if I know for sure that you're going to sign up, I'll try to pick a time that would work better for you if I know that that's what you want to do. Mm-hmm. I've been to the UK. It's a wonderful country. Beautiful place. I went to all the sacred sites. Okay. So if you just look at the event, that's probably the best way to do it. Let me give some links to those events so you guys can find it. So here's the event to the class, which is good for anyone, even if you just want to connect to your loved ones, because anyone can connect with their loved ones, because we're supposed to be able to connect with our loved ones. We're not necessarily supposed to go to mediums to connect. We're supposed to, see, Joe, it's nearly 1 a.m. Yeah, see? So it would probably be around this time. Okay. And then here's the other, this is medium practice group. There's actually 3 different times, Joe. So if you click on that, it'll probably convert the time over for you so that you can see the appropriate time. Okay. And those classes are just $22. Also, Joe, I do one-on-one mentoring, coaching, if you think that might be helpful as well. I suggest that if you want to learn how to be a medium, that you sign up for the coaching. Just click on the link that says save money with packages, something like that. Save money with packages is actually the best thing you can do, because you'll save a lot of money with that. Okay. And you can find my website at divineandrogen.com. I look forward to hearing from some of you guys and going way, way deeper and doing this with you. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate all that you do. And Hazel, the nice thing is when you book with me, the booking software will convert it to your time. So if you're booking a reading with me, Hazel, it will convert the time of the appointment to your time zone. Isn't that convenient? I think it's awesome, because then you don't even have to think about it, right? Okay. All right, peoples. Well, I hope this has been a beautiful night. And the link is already I already put it in, Christy. I already put the link in. Already did it. Here's the link to my website. There you go. You are very welcome, Christy. You are very welcome. And I look forward to all of you. I look forward to going deeper with all of you in private readings, in your astrology chart, and more. And I look forward to next week's live and connecting with all of you. All right. All right, everyone. Have a good night. And like I said, stay in love, you guys.
Are you seeking guidance on your spiritual journey? Need help with a vexing problem? Missing a loved one and looking for answers? Look no further than Psychic Insights, a small trusted psychic service offering mediums, psychics, and spiritual coaching. This service is managed by Hollis Taylor, a gifted psychic medium, astrologer, and a compassionate coach. We are dedicated to helping you navigate your spiritual awakening. At Psychic Insights, we provide medium readings and psychic insight to help you plan for tomorrow and make choices for today. Find the support you need, compassionate grief coaching, and astrological insights to help you spiritually grow and transform. Our professional services include well-managed schedules, recorded sessions, and reliable psychic mediums ready to facilitate your transformational experience. Discover more at psychicinsights.life.